Hi, I'm Haley Haynes. Growing up in Asheville, North Carolina, my family has always shopped at Ingles, and I've always loved cooking. But it wasn't until recently as a law student that I started posting about where those two things intersect with my Instagram page, Lynn Obsessed. I love Ingles Lynn, and there are so many great products. Today we are using them to make my Tuscan white bean sausage soup. Let's get started. All right, guys, I've already browned my sausage and taken it to the side so that I could get some of the grease out of the pan. And now I'm going to be softening my vegetables. I've got diced carrots, celery, and a shallot in here. You can use an onion too, and you can get these pre-cut at Ingles. I'm gonna add a little bit of laurel and olive oil, which is great. So you're gonna wanna just push this all around the pan, get everything a little covered in olive oil, and just let this simmer for about 10 minutes till everything's nice and soft. All right, once these start to get nice and softened, you wanna add a little bit of fresh garlic. Minced mine a little bit ago, but this is also to taste. Some people are crazy about garlic and some don't like it. And normally when I'm making these types of soups, I'm just throwing stuff together, but I'm making a little recipe here for you guys so that you can enjoy it at home too. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add the meat back now. And you wanna have this cooking on still a medium to low. All right, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add my 2 cans of white beans. And this is another area where you can really do any kind of bean you like. I just really enjoy white beans. I also drained my beans. You can leave in the liquid if you want that flavor, but I like to drain them and get some of the salt flavor down. Next, we're gonna add about 2 helpings of kale. And you wanna let this kale cook down a little. And you can kinda stab it a little bit to get it to break apart. We're gonna go ahead and add our chicken broth to bring out some flavor. Sometimes you just spill a little bit of stuff, so you wanna get really close. I'm using chicken broth, but you can also use a beef broth, a vegetable broth. If you're cooking this without meat, I've done that before. Use a vegetable broth. All right, so I'm gonna stir that and get the heat back up on here. You might need to turn it up a little bit. I like to add 1 bouillon cube to bring out a little bit more flavor. Again, totally optional. And here's where you want to add some seasoning. So I'm going to add a little freshly ground pepper. Lynn actually has a fresh pepper and fresh salt. Very easy. And of course, do that to your taste preference. And then I'm going to add a little bit of Italian seasoning to get that basil, oregano, thyme flavors in there. Now I'm gonna add my potatoes. So I've done 1 big potato in the past, or like I've done now is I got small potatoes, baking potatoes, and I did about 10 of them and cut them into fourths. Either way works just as great. I leave the peel on, I think it tastes good. Get this nice and stirred. All right, well I'm gonna cover this now and let it come to a boil, and we'll be back. All right, guys, I let this come to a boil, and then I reduced it and let it simmer for an hour. Gonna stir it up a little bit just to see how everything's doing. And it looks like it's ready to serve. You can also add more kale at this point if you want a little more. I kind of like just having the wilted down kale. All right, and I like to serve this with fresh parmesan. Lynn makes a really nice, freshly shaved parmesan. Makes it a little more fancy and a little prettier, and it's delicious. So I also like to serve this with a toasted baguette. Just cut it up into little slices, put a little butter on it, and pop it in the oven for a few minutes, and it's ready to go. Thanks so much for joining me here today at the Ingles table. Make sure and explore the rest of our site for more great tips, tricks, and recipes. Until next time, I'll see you on the gram at Lynn Obsessed. Take care.